Sources in London say Buckingham Palace has uncovered the truth about Archie and Lilibet's lineage.
A shockwave just hit the world, and it's shaking the royal walls like never before. The expanded Epstein investigation dropped its latest global release, and buried inside the chaos is a newly decrypted piece of forensic data that's blowing everything wide open. While everyone's eyes were glued to billionaire names, this one file has detonated a full-blown constitutional crisis for the British royal family. The leak exposes a payment invoice from Meghan Markle's old account for a luxury medical package in Mexico, timed exactly with her announcement of Archie's birth. And get this, there's still no official signature from the royal medical team confirming that pregnancy. What used to be dismissed as wild gossip is now backed by legal-grade proof that's shaking Buckingham Palace to its core. Experts are saying the famous Windsor baby photo looks totally staged, matching a string of bizarre medical inconsistencies scattered throughout Spare. Even the mysterious birth of Lilibet in the US is raising fresh alarms. Each detail stacks up towards something truly sinister, whispers of a long-running, high-level scheme to slip children without verified royal blood into the line of succession. Now the pressure's on Prince William like never before. He's reportedly facing an impossible decision: stay silent to shield his brother, or come clean to defend the very legitimacy of the crown itself. The stakes couldn't be higher. The silent war has officially begun, and it's tearing through royal walls without a single gunshot. Is Prince Harry a secret accomplice in this twisted play, or just a heartbroken pawn tricked into believing a lie about his own bloodline? Everyone's asking the same burning question: what kind of evidence could Prince William possibly have strong enough to exile his sister-in-law without shattering the royal image forever? When that velvet curtain in Montecito finally gets ripped open, how will Meghan Markle face the cameras when the world starts wondering if those tears were just makeup for a deeper, colder ambition? The news is erupting everywhere. CNN, BBC, every ticker flashing the same chilling headline. Breaking news: Epstein files declassified, Phase 2. The public's going wild, desperate to see which politicians or Hollywood elites might fall next in the avalanche of scandal. But behind the palace gates, William couldn't care less about wild parties or the usual fallen names like Andrew. He's sitting alone, under the dim glow of a single desk lamp, eyes locked on a file that looks thin but feels as heavy as the crown itself. This isn't some public document you find in a tabloid. It's a private dossier, raw, untouched financial data. The palace's secret intelligence arm, made up of former MI6 operatives sworn in loyalty to the throne, had one job: scour every fragment of leaked cloud data for any trace connecting the royal bloodline to the Epstein network. They were supposed to prepare for damage control. Instead, they uncovered something even more explosive, a discovery so dangerous it could rewrite royal history itself. At exactly 3 a.m., that file landed in William's hands. Wearing crisp white gloves, he flips to page 402 and freezes. There it is, a string of international money transfers, highlighted in blood-red ink. On the surface, it's just another financial trail buried among thousands of routine transactions. But in the shadow of royal history, that single line glows like a live wire, a clue that could collapse the House of Windsor from the inside out. Sender: ARC LLC, a shell company quietly tucked away in Delaware, USA, once managed under Meghan Markle's old financial circle. The recipient: a discreet medical facility sitting near the Mexican border, whispered about in elite circles for its no-questions-asked procedures, luxury fertility services, and total identity secrecy. The payment? A staggering $500,000, wired on May 1, 2019, and that date makes William's blood run cold. May 1, 2019, exactly 5 days after Meghan announced she had gone into labor and welcomed Archie Harrison Mountbatten Windsor. William's breath catches. He grips the edge of his desk before rising, pacing to the wide glass window overlooking the rain-soaked Kensington Gardens. The storm outside mirrors the one now raging inside his mind. Flashes of that chaotic week surge back: details he once dismissed now snapping into place with terrifying clarity. There had been no hospital notice pinned to Buckingham Palace gates, breaking a royal tradition that had stood for generations. No royal obstetrics team on standby. The same medical experts who had delivered Windsor heirs for decades were suddenly cut off without explanation. William remembers how Meghan had disappeared for several hours that day, only to return, smiling for the cameras, holding a baby, yet refusing any of the standard postnatal medical checks demanded by royal protocol. At the time, the family had swallowed their doubts, trying to keep the peace. But now, this invoice ties every strange moment together into something dark and deliberate. This isn't about gossip or feuds anymore. This is about legitimacy. William realizes the truth staring back at him isn't some tabloid drama, it's a constitutional nightmare. If the child once sixth in line to the throne came from an undeclared surrogacy contract, or worse, isn't of royal blood at all, then everything the monarchy stands on could come crashing down. The air feels heavier than the crown itself. It's being called the biggest constitutional deception in over 1,000 years, the monarchy's darkest secret yet. Meghan hasn't just misled her father's family, she's allegedly rewriting British history to slip an unverified heir into the Windsor bloodline. The weight of it hits William like a punch. This isn't just betrayal, it's treason dressed in designer silk. He snatches up the internal secure line, punching in a number that doesn't exist in any directory. It's the direct hotline to the Director of Royal Security, the only person he can still trust. His voice is low but sharp. I want you to focus everything on the name Centro de Frontera. Use every intelligence source we have. Track the original contract linked to that $500,000 transfer on May 1st, 2019. I need to know who was in that delivery room and why no royal medical signatures exist on any of the birth documents. A pause stretches on the other end. Just a beat before a firm, "Understood, sir," cuts through the silence. William ends the call with a slow exhale. The war has officially begun. No bullets, no speeches, no headlines, just cold truth clawing its way out of the shadows. He knows what this means. Once Pandora's box is cracked open, the bond between him and Harry won't survive. Brotherhood will die in the blast of revelation. But the throne doesn't bend for emotion. The crown demands purity, proof, and power above all else. Within 48 hours of the Epstein files shaking the world, William moves in silence. He's no longer working alone. A covert task force now operates under his direct command. 3 elite digital forensic agents from MI5 and 1 top constitutional lawyer, all sworn to secrecy. They gather in the Black Room, deep under the palace, screens glowing, files encrypted, hearts pounding, ready to uncover the truth that could tear the monarchy apart forever. The room is buried so deep beneath the palace that no signal can reach it, soundproof, windowless, and sealed off from the outside world. It's the royal nerve center for handling the kind of secrets that can never see daylight. In the middle of this bunker, a massive high-resolution projector hums to life, filling the wall with a single black and white image burned into history. Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip smiling at baby Archie, Meghan cradling him proudly, with Dora Raglan standing by. That photo once broke the internet, heralded as the perfect symbol of a modernized monarchy. People called it proof of unity, celebrating the Queen's warm acceptance of her mixed-race great-grandchild. But tonight, under the icy glare of suspicion and William's relentless command, the same image is being studied like a crime scene photo. Every shadow, every reflection, every pixel is now a piece of potential evidence.
Your Highness, please direct your attention to the upper left corner, the lead analyst says, adjusting his glasses as he flicks on a laser pointer. The screen zooms in so far that the image breaks into raw pixels. This is our optical light direction analysis, he explains. Notice here, the light hitting Her Majesty and Prince Philip comes from the window on the left, creating long, clean shadows to the right. That's natural midday sunlight inside Windsor's drawing room. Then he moves the pointer toward Meghan and the baby. Now look here, he says. The lighting changes completely. The child's face is illuminated from above with a soft, diffused glow. Shadows under the chin, no hard edges. That's studio lighting, Your Highness. Artificial. It doesn't match the environment. The air thickens. William doesn't blink. His cold blue eyes lock on the screen, unflinching. The tension in his jaw is visible, muscles coiled tight, as truth and betrayal start to blur on the same glowing wall. These two light sources can't possibly exist in the same physical space, the expert stammers, his voice shaking as the truth crawls out from the pixels. The laser pointer trembles in his hand. And there's something even worse. He takes a sharp breath before clicking to the next layer of analysis. We ran pixel detection and compression density mapping. Look here, around the blanket wrapping the child. The texture doesn't match. The edges show digital tampering. The image zooms in again. See this junction between Meghan's dress and the blanket? The expert continues, his tone now barely steady. The compression noise here is completely different from the rest of the background. It's been cut, layered, and edited. Then he draws a red outline over the Queen's eyes and Prince Philip's gaze path. And most shocking of all, their lines of sight don't align with the child at all. The geometry reconstruction proves it. They're both looking at empty space behind Meghan's shoulder. The final words hit the room like a thunderclap. Our conclusion, the expert says quietly, is that Meghan and the child were digitally composited into this image after the original photograph of the Queen and Prince Philip was taken. The silence that follows is suffocating. The air feels heavy, too heavy for even sound to move through. William's stomach twists. Nausea claws at him as he stares at the frozen screen. This isn't just a sloppy Photoshop job, this is sacrilege. His late grandmother's image, the Queen herself, had been used as a digital prop. He clenches his fists, fury surging beneath the surface. Meghan hadn't just lied about the birth, she had allegedly exploited the Queen's legacy, using her likeness to stage a false display of royal unity before the entire world. To manipulate the very image of Britain's longest reigning monarch, it was unthinkable. William turns sharply toward the legal aid huddled in the shadowed box among stacks of old archive boxes, his voice low but edged with steel. The time for doubt is over. Now it's about justice. What about the administrative papers? William's tone cut through the tension like a blade. The security report mentioned a change in the registry. Show me, now. His command leaves no room for hesitation. The aide flinches, fumbling through a folder before carefully placing a printed document on the table, a certified copy of Archie's birth certificate, freshly pulled from the General Register Office. "Sir," he whispers, "this is the official record. The registry log shows a quiet amendment made exactly 1 month after the birth, June 2019. William's eyes narrow as the aide points to the line marked "Mother." Originally, it read Rachel Meghan Markle, but that name was completely removed, he explains, his voice barely audible. It was replaced with the phrase, Her Royal Highness the Duchess of Sussex. William's breath sharpens. "That's impossible," he mutters. "Princess Kate never did that. Princess Diana didn't either. Why would she?" His tone drops low, cold, deliberate, and heavy with suspicion. The aide swallows, his hands trembling. "Legally speaking, sir, internationally, the removal of a mother's personal name and replacement with a title is something only seen in certain surrogacy arrangements. It's a move designed by lawyers to erase the biological mother's identity on paper, to block any future custody or maternity claims. And it binds the child permanently to the royal title, the only element that carries commercial power." The room feels smaller now, the air thick with dread. William exhales slowly, closing his eyes. Every hidden piece falls into place like gears in a sinister clock. William opens his eyes again, his voice steady but laced with fury. Meghan hadn't just built a family, she had allegedly been crafting an empire, one paper, one photo, one lie at a time. She saw the child as a pawn, a hostage for emotional leverage against the crown, a living insurance policy, William mutters, his voice breaking into a whisper that sounds more like disbelief than anger. His eyes snap open, blazing with sharp, icy rage. She fooled every one of us, he snaps open, blazing with sharp, icy rage. She fooled Harry, fooled the Queen, and fooled the entire British legal system. He pauses, his tone hardening. But she made one critical mistake. She thought our silence was weakness, not strategy. William rises abruptly, the chair scraping against the floor as he sweeps every file off the desk into a single stack. Seal everything, effective immediately, he orders. We're moving to phase 2. His command echoes off the cold basement walls. Cross-reference Harry's memoir. If she fabricated the photo, then she fed him the false story about the birth too. Every page in Spare could be evidence or a trap she set herself. He paces slowly, his thoughts razor-sharp. Meghan Markle doesn't fear the Epstein files. She's confident those shell companies and high-end lawyers buried the money trail deep enough. What terrifies her isn't the law, it's exposure. The real threat is the book she weaponized.
William gestures toward the tablet on the table, where Spare lies digitally open beside archived news clippings. That book was her sword. She used Harry to swing it at us, but now it's turned in her hands, his voice tight with fury. On the glowing iPad screen, a dozen open tabs show medical journals and parenting forums buzzing with speculation. Doctors, analysts, and readers are tearing into one specific chapter, not the stories about family fights or palace pain, but the moment Harry describes Archie's birth in vivid, inconsistent detail. The online world isn't gossiping anymore, it's investigating. Every paragraph is being dissected, timelines questioned, statements compared, and the truth that Meghan once controlled is starting to slip right through her manicured fingers.
The chapter in Spare that Meghan personally polished line by line is now exploding across the media. A scene so far-fetched, doctors are calling it medically impossible. A respected obstetrician from Harley Street publishes a fiery piece in the Telegraph, and it spreads like wildfire. The article quotes directly from Harry's own words. Meghan was given an epidural to ease the pain, and just 2 hours after giving birth, she was sitting up, eating Nando's chicken, and bouncing on a yoga ball. Within hours, the medical community erupts. The obstetrician writes, with the level of anesthesia typically used for a first birth, a mother's lower body remains completely numb for 4 to 6 hours minimum. Walking is impossible, let alone sitting upright or bouncing on a yoga ball. The words are everywhere. Screenshots, reaction videos, global debates. What Meghan once framed as a tender, modern birth story is now being dissected as pure fiction. The iPad slips from Meghan's hands and hits the sofa with a dull, heavy thud. Silence fills the Montecito living room. Her face hardens as realization sinks in. This wasn't a tabloid rumor anymore. This was evidence. The timeline, the details, even the medical facts, all unraveling in real time. Harry had written exactly what she told him to say, without questioning a word. But in trying to create a cinematic version of motherhood, Meghan forgot reality doesn't bend for storytelling. The glossy Hollywood-style moment she built, where the glowing mother snacks on chicken after a flawless delivery, now reads like the script of a movie, not a memory. "Harry!" she screams, her voice cracking between panic and fury. Footsteps rush in from the garden. Harry appears, dirt still under his nails from playing with the dogs. His face is pale, eyes hollow, carrying that constant, restless anxiety that never leaves him. "What happened?" he blurts out, breathless. "Did the paparazzi get another shot of the house?" Meghan's eyes flash with rage. "Why did you write that part, Harry? The roasted chicken, the laughing gas? Why would you include that detail?" The tension between them is electric, her voice sharp, his confusion raw, as the perfect narrative they crafted together starts collapsing under the weight of its own lies. Meghan lets out a piercing shriek, pointing at Spare as if it were cursed. "You're destroying us," she cries, her voice cracking under fury and fear. "They're saying I faked the pregnancy because of that ridiculous detail. Why didn't you check with me before it went to print?" Harry stands still, caught off guard, confusion written all over his face. "But that's what happened, isn't it?" He stammers. "You ate chicken. You were laughing. You said you were fine. I just wrote what I saw." He hesitates, the words hanging heavy in the air. "Unless," he trails off, his voice shrinking to a whisper, "unless that wasn't real?" For the first time in years, something sharp cuts through Harry's fog of loyalty, doubt. It slithers into his mind like venom, burning through old certainties. He stares down, trying to drag real memories out of the haze. Portland Hospital, the cold hallways, the nervous shuffle of bodyguards, the nurse who told him to wait outside for special procedures. He remembers sitting there, hands shaking, waiting for that unmistakable sound, the cry of a newborn. But it never came. The silence had stretched on, eerie and endless. When they finally let him back in, the baby was already cleaned and wrapped, resting peacefully. Meghan looked radiant, too radiant, her hair perfect, her makeup untouched. There was no trace of exhaustion, no evidence of a woman who just endured hours of labor. Harry's breath slows, his stomach twisting. The puzzle pieces he never dared to question now begin to fit together, and the picture they form terrifies him. But Meghan, ever the master of emotional control, spots that flicker in his eyes instantly. Panic flashes across her face. She's losing him. So she flips the script. The wine glass slips from her hands and shatters softly on the carpet. She drops to her knees, sobbing, her whole body trembling like a broken doll. "They're attacking me, Harry," she cries, clutching at his legs. "They're using cold medical jargon to deny a mother's pain." Her mascara runs as tears spill down her cheeks, her voice raw and cracking. Harry stands frozen above her, torn between guilt, pity, and the sharp sting of suspicion. The woman he thought he was protecting is suddenly a stranger, one who might be acting for an audience he can't even see. "They're trying to say our child isn't real," Meghan cries, her voice trembling with desperation. "They're trying to erase him, to strip him of everything. They want to destroy me the same way they destroyed your mother. You promised you'd never let that happen. You promised you'd protect me like you couldn't protect Diana." The moment her name hits the air, Diana, Harry freezes. That single word slices through him like lightning, flipping an invisible switch inside his chest. Every buried trauma, every flash of paparazzi bulbs, every image of his mother's final moments rushes back at once. Guilt slams into him, heavy and suffocating. He drops to his knees and pulls Meghan into his arms, whispering apologies, his voice breaking. "I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, I'll fix this." But even as he holds her, something inside him shifts. Behind the comfort, beneath the guilt, a small spark of doubt refuses to die. It whispers questions he's never dared to ask. Why can't I remember the doctor's face? Why did no one from the family come to the hospital that day? Why did everything feel rehearsed, not real? And then another thought pierces through the fog. If Archie's birth was strange, then what about Lilibet's? Her birth, he remembers, was even more mysterious. Born in California, far from royal eyes, Lilibet Diana came into the world completely beyond the reach of royal protocols. The royal medical team wasn't invited. No senior doctor was authorized to witness or sign any official record. The hospital in Santa Barbara became a fortress of silence. No golden-framed notice appeared at Buckingham Palace, no formal announcement confirming the time and place of birth, breaking every rule of royal tradition. And most chilling of all, the sacred rite of christening, the ceremony that binds every royal child to both God and the crown, never happened. There was no bishop, no blessing, no official record, nothing. Back in London, William already had the Mexican documents secured, proof enough to suggest something far deeper than family drama. But instead of striking loud in public, he chose silence as his weapon. He wouldn't risk looking like a man attacking children. Instead, he'd move quietly, carefully, like a chess master waiting for his opponent to make one wrong move. Because now, the stakes weren't just about Meghan or Harry, they were about the throne itself. And William knew one wrong revelation could change the monarchy forever. Instead of launching a noisy public attack, William and the palace's senior advisors created a cold, ruthless countermeasure, a silent fortress they called the Ice Wall. The rule was simple but merciless. Do not confirm what has not been witnessed with your own eyes. No statements, no acknowledgements, no reactions. Just silence strong enough to freeze any rumor solid. As Lilibet's birthday drew near, Meghan prepared her next grand move from Montecito. She set up a media blitz with military precision. Dozens of emails shot through her lawyers to the palace, demanding that her daughter be officially declared a princess on the royal website. She also insisted on a formal christening at Windsor, attended by King Charles himself.
In Meghan's mind, the symbolism was perfect. The name Lilibet, the Queen's most private nickname, would trap the palace emotionally. She believed that by binding her daughter to that sacred name, she could force the royal family to recognize the child publicly, terrified of appearing cruel or dismissive. But when the day arrived, nothing happened. Absolute silence. No bells rang at Westminster Abbey, no announcement appeared on the royal social media pages. The official website stayed untouched. The palace didn't confirm, didn't deny. They simply erased the question from reality. Every email from the Sussex legal team, every request demanding the princess title, unanswered. The void swallowed them whole. The silence wasn't ignorance, it was strategy. The ice wall was holding firm. Inside the Montecito mansion, that silence became torture. Meghan's calm facade cracked. She paced the living room like a storm ready to burst. "What are they doing?" she hissed during an emergency Zoom call with her PR team, her face flushed with fury. "Why won't they react? If they deny the title, I can go public and play the shunned mother. If they confirm it, I win the branding battle. But they're silent. They're acting like my child doesn't even exist." Her team exchanged tense looks, no one daring to speak. Finally, one seasoned Hollywood publicist, the kind who'd seen reputations rise and crumble, cleared his throat. His tone was cautious, respectful, but edged with truth. "Your Highness," he said quietly, "they're not ignoring you, they're isolating you. The silence is the response." Meghan froze, realizing the full weight of it. The palace hadn't just rejected her demand, they'd erased her move from the board entirely. "They haven't forgotten you," the PR strategist continued quietly. "They're pushing you into the gray zone. Lilibet exists biologically in America, yes, but legally and institutionally in the UK, she doesn't exist at all. In the eyes of history, the Constitution, and royal law, she's invisible. Without written confirmation from the palace, the title you've claimed in the US is just a sound. No authority, no value, no royal standing." Meghan's expression hardened. The phone slid from her hand and hit the floor with a faint thud. The words sank in like ice. For the first time, she understood William's strategy, and it terrified her. The man she'd once mocked as stiff, cold, and predictable had outmaneuvered her completely. He'd given her exactly what she'd asked for, freedom, but that freedom came wrapped in chains, total isolation from the royal machine that once gave her relevance. Without royal acknowledgement, her children weren't prince or princess, they were just wealthy kids in California, stripped of the blue blood magic that made the world watch. Without the firm's validation, their names carried no legal weight, no commercial allure, just emptiness behind the glamour. William's silence wasn't weakness, it was power in its purest form, contempt that didn't need to speak. He was erasing her and her children, not with scandal or public denouncement, but with the simplest, most devastating weapon imaginable: complete indifference. And for Meghan, that was unbearable. The risk of fading into irrelevance, of being forgotten, was her greatest nightmare.
She refused to vanish quietly. If the palace had locked her out of the royal stage, she would build her own, and she would do it the same way she had once brought them to their knees, by mastering the American spotlight. Weeks later, cameras rolled again, this time in a sunlit California garden bursting with roses. Meghan sat before the world dressed in flawless white, her face glowing with sorrowful grace. Every tear, every pause, every quiver of her lip was perfectly timed. "They refused to sign the papers for my child," she sobbed softly, her gaze locked on the camera lens. "They told me it's because we live in the US, but I know the truth." Her voice cracked. "It's because of her skin color." The statement hit the airwaves like a thunderclap. The interview was broadcast across the world within hours, clips trending, hashtags soaring. Meghan had returned to the stage, not as a duchess, not as a rebel, but as the eternal victim fighting against the cold cruelty of the crown. "They want to take away Lilibet's security," Meghan cried during the interview, her voice trembling but perfectly measured. "Their silence isn't protocol, it's punishment. This is systematic psychological abuse. They're trying to erase my children from royal history, all because they don't look white enough to meet the family's standards." It was a direct strike at the monarchy's softest spot, race. In a world hypersensitive to injustice, Meghan knew exactly which nerve to hit. Her words spread like wildfire, sparking outrage across social media within minutes. The headlines everywhere screamed the same accusation: "Palace faces racism scandal again." Harry sat beside her, gripping her hand tightly, nodding through every word. His eyes glistened with pain, his voice cracked when he spoke. "I just can't understand why my family would treat us this way." To him softly, the agony raw and real. He truly believed his wife and children were being persecuted. What he didn't see was the invisible hand guiding him. His grief and guilt turned into a weapon aimed straight at his own bloodline. But this time, Meghan had misread the room. The year was 2026, and the public wasn't the same as it had been 6 years earlier. The sympathy had dried up, replaced by skepticism and fatigue. People were tired of hearing complaints from a couple living in a mansion while preaching victimhood. Within hours of the broadcast, the internet erupted, but not in her favor. Comment sections exploded with fact checks, timelines, and clips dissecting every contradiction. If the royal family is so racist, why did they throw you the wedding of the century, complete with a gospel choir and an international broadcast? Another tweet with millions of likes hit harder. "You say they refused protection for your child, but you're the one who hid the birth records and banned royal doctors. If you want recognition, show the signed certificate. Transparency is your enemy." British TV networks aired live debates, journalists calling out inconsistencies in Meghan's story. The tide was turning, and fast. But the worst blow of all didn't come from critics or fact-checkers. It came from Meghan herself. In an attempt to humanize her image and showcase her maternal warmth, she handed over personal footage, a video of Lilibet's birthday celebration in the Montecito garden. What was meant to be proof of a loving mother's bond would soon become a viral disaster. Viewers paused, zoomed in, analyzed every frame, and what they found would dismantle the last thread of Meghan's credibility.
In the video, little Lilibet could be seen laughing and running through a field of flowers, sunlight dancing across her curls, the perfect picture of innocence. Meghan's team had captioned it proudly, "Celebrating Lilibet's birthday in our Montecito garden." The footage spread fast, drawing millions of views in hours. But within a day, experts began to dismantle the illusion piece by piece. California botanists and local gardeners were the first to spot the problem. The flowers blooming all around Lilibet, bright purple jacarandas, only blossom in May and begin to wilt by early June in Santa Barbara's climate. Yet Meghan claimed the video was filmed on June 4th, Lilibet's official birthday. To make matters worse, online sleuths compared the sunlight and shadow angles, concluding the footage had been taken during the cool mornings of spring, not the heat of summer.
The conclusion was impossible to ignore. The video wasn't a birthday clip at all. It was staged. And that revelation broke the internet. What had been intended as a tender, wholesome moment became proof in the public's eyes of deception. People began to question everything. If she could lie about something so small, what else had she faked? Within hours, a new storm erupted across social media. The hashtag #MeghanTheLiar rocketed to #1 globally. News anchors, late-night hosts, and online commentators tore into the clip frame by frame. "She's rewriting reality again," one headline read. "Even the flowers exposed the truth." The carefully planned PR comeback had exploded into a full-blown disaster. Across the Atlantic, William watched the chaos unfold from his study at Kensington Palace. He didn't speak, didn't celebrate, didn't even need to issue a statement. His silence said everything. While Meghan's world unraveled in noise and contradiction, his calm restraint radiated quiet authority. The contrast was brutal, her fury versus his composure, her theatrics against his discipline. And now, the moment he'd been waiting for had arrived. The tide of public opinion had turned completely. Meghan's credibility was in ruins. The court of public sentiment had already delivered its verdict. On William's desk lay the final piece, the one file he'd kept hidden all along, the confidential report from the private investigator in Mexico. It wasn't just a bank invoice anymore. It was the full digital copy of a surrogacy contract, authenticated with Meghan Markle's verified electronic signature, painstakingly recovered from the hard drive of the defunct medical clinic's encrypted server. William stared at the document in silence, the weight of history pressing down. The evidence that could shatter everything now rested in his hands, and this time he wouldn't need a single word to end the game. The document left no room for interpretation. It spelled out in chilling clarity that Meghan had used a donor egg and hired a surrogate from Mexico to carry the pregnancy, while publicly wearing a prosthetic bump to complete the illusion of motherhood. Every clause, every signature, every timestamp was authentic. Yet William didn't rush to expose it. He refused to let innocent children become collateral damage in a public bloodbath. Instead, he chose something far more powerful: silence laced with symbolism, the power of exclusion. Months later, during a grand BBC documentary marking the first anniversary of King Charles's coronation, William made his move, not with scandal, but with statesmanship. Dressed in the emerald uniform of the Colonel of the Irish Guards, medals glinting beneath the studio lights, he looked every inch the heir to the throne. The interviewer, an experienced journalist hand-picked by the palace for this delicate moment, approached the forbidden subject carefully. "Your Royal Highness," she asked, "many around the world still wonder about your relationship with your brother and your family overseas. What would you like to say to them today?" The room went still. William's eyes locked directly onto the camera lens, his voice low and composed, but razor-sharp beneath the calm. "Family," he began, "is sacred to anyone, but the monarchy is not based on sentiment. It stands on two unshakable pillars: truth and public trust. When truth is concealed and trust is used for personal gain, we face a choice no one wishes to make." He paused, his gaze unflinching. "For me, and for the future of this institution, that line has been crossed, and once it is crossed, there is no path back. The crown cannot and will never compromise with deceit that endangers the integrity of our history." He never said the names Harry or Meghan. He didn't need to. The key words "cannot forgive" and "deceit" rang out like a quiet thunderclap, echoing across the world. It wasn't a statement, it was a sentence, a calm, measured royal excommunication delivered under the glow of a camera lens. That night, screens across the globe replayed the moment in slow motion. Analysts dissected every syllable, every glance. The message was unmistakable. The Sussexes were no longer part of the royal story. Meanwhile, across the ocean, in a dim Los Angeles bar, Harry sat hunched over a glass, lost in thought. His phone buzzed. A message popped up.
From an old friend, a former comrade from his army days, one of the few who still risked staying in touch. The text was short. "I think you need to see this before it's too late." Attached was a single file. Harry stared at the screen for a long moment before opening it, unaware that what he was about to see would shatter the last illusion he had left.
William had been right all along. Harry opened the file and his world collapsed. The screen glowed in the dim light of the bar, a scanned copy of the surrogacy contract from Mexico. His breath caught, his vision blurred. His hands trembled so violently the phone nearly slipped from his grip. There it was, her signature. Meghan's name, clear and undeniable. Dates, payment records, and one haunting line under Clause C, absolute identity security. Every suppressed memory came crashing back in a flood. Meghan insisting he wait outside during the ultrasound appointments. Meghan dimming the lights whenever she changed. Meghan refusing examinations from royal doctors. Archie's strangely quick delivery that never quite made sense. Each detail that once seemed odd now clicked into place, like shards of broken glass cutting through the truth. His chest tightened until it hurt. He wasn't the father, not in the way he believed. Or at the very least, Meghan hadn't carried the child she'd sworn was theirs. Harry bolted from the bar, heart pounding, tires screeching as he tore through the streets of Montecito toward their mansion. He slammed through the doors, footsteps echoing down the marble hallway, and found Meghan in her home office, shouting into her phone, fury spilling into every word as she argued with her agent about Dior pulling her deal. "You lied to me," Harry said, his voice shaking, not with anger, but heartbreak. They know everything about Mexico, about the contract." He swallowed hard, his voice breaking. "You didn't give birth to Archie." Meghan turned, her face draining of color, eyes wide with panic. The phone slipped from her hand and hit the desk with a sharp crack. For a split second, she looked ready to faint, the same rehearsed collapse she'd used before. But Harry raised his phone, the glowing document filling the screen, the digital proof of betrayal staring back at her. "It was for us," Meghan suddenly screamed, lunging toward him, desperation twisting her face. "You think I did this for me? I did it for you, for your name, for your family." Her voice grew raw, frantic. "I couldn't carry a child, you know I couldn't. I did what I had to do so your bloodline wouldn't end, so your children could have their titles. I sacrificed everything to protect your precious monarchy." Harry stepped back slowly, staring at the woman he once adored, the woman he had defended against the world, against his own blood. His eyes filled with disbelief, heartbreak, and a dawning horror that he couldn't contain. The woman before him wasn't the same one he had fallen for, or maybe she always had been, and he'd simply refused to see it until now. He didn't see a wife anymore. He didn't see a mother, or the woman who once spoke about compassion and equality. What stood before him now was something colder, a merchant of emotion, a master manipulator who turned life itself into a transaction. Harry's eyes locked on her, filled with disbelief and devastation. "You used children, the products of a deal, to bargain with power with the British throne," Harry said, his voice trembling but cutting through the silence like a blade. Tears streamed down his face, hot and relentless. "I didn't protect the family," he whispered, his throat tightening. "You destroyed it. You turned me into an accomplice, into part of the biggest fraud in royal history. You made me betray my blood, my grandmother." His words broke apart, choked with grief. "You never loved me. You only loved the title I gave you." Then, slowly, he slid the wedding ring from his trembling hand, the same ring he had once vowed would never leave his finger. It clinked sharply against the glass table beside the printed contract, the metallic sound echoing like a closing door, sealing the end of their story, a tragedy written in love, lies, and silence. And if you followed this unbelievable journey to the end, hit like, subscribe, and drop a comment below. Tell us, was this love or the greatest deception of our time?